Okay, so another weekend has come and gone, and we have some box office to discuss. First off, one of the biggest highlights for me personally of this weekend was the fact that the overall box office domestically was up 35% from exactly a year ago today. That is very big because for a long time, with streaming, with the pandemic, we saw less and less people going out to the movies. And so it's really exciting to see that the numbers are increasing slowly but steadily. Moreover than that, this weekend was actually up 19% from 2019 pre-pandemic. So a lot of different factors played into this that we'll talk about a little bit later, but it is very good for the movie industry overall. So this weekend, Deadpool and Wolverine did manage to hold on to their number one spot for the third weekend in a row, but it was a very close fight. It Ends With Us opened with $50 million, while Deadpool and Wolverine's third weekend was $54 million. Now, this is pretty good news for people in the movie industry, especially Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. They are cementing their status as a power couple. It's been since the 1990s that a couple has opened the number one and number two movies in the box office, with the previous people being Demi Moore with Ghost and Bruce Willis with Die Hard 2, which is very interesting to see the parallels with Demi Moore doing like kind of romance movie, Bruce Willis doing a sequel to a very successful action franchise, and now you're seeing kind of the same basic movies, except I think Ghost was significantly less problematic than It Ends With Us. But um, yeah, the marketing for It Ends With Us ended up working out for the people involved with the movie. They got their big weekend opening. I'm hoping that they turn around and do some good with that. So only time will tell. But you can't argue that whatever it is, no matter how misleading their marketing was, people got into the theaters and they actually liked the movie. They gave it an A minus cinema score. It is interesting to note that 84% of this movie was female. This is very highly skewed female. You don't really see that happen a lot. Even Barbie had a little bit more. I believe it was like in the 60s or 70s. 50 Shades did have an 82, I think 82% female as well. So you can tell there's a lot of money um, to kind of mobilize the female audience. Are book to movie adaptations the way to go? Possibly. I am definitely expecting that more books that are really popular, especially on Book Talk, are going to get optioned for movies. We'll see how many of them make it to the big screen, but it is interesting to see this pocket develop. It's a pocket book to movie adaptations that kind of comes and goes, ebbs and flows. So we'll see how long it sticks around before people forget about it and move on to the next trend. However, a trend that isn't working out for Hollywood so well is the video game adaptation. Borderlands opened with only $8.8 million, and this is very, very bad for a movie that stars two Oscar winners. It's Kevin Hart, was a big box office draw at least a couple years ago. A video game that is one of, if not the most successful video game of all time. You definitely would have expected this to be the big winner of the weekend. The fact that it wasn't shows that Hollywood just does not understand why video games are so attractive to its audiences. They haven't been able to translate that video game magic to movie magic. They're not going to give up trying. You still got movies such as Legend of Zelda. Nintendo is making more Super Mario Brothers movies, which that was successful. So, you win some, you lose some, but Borderlands was not a winner. It had a D plus cinema score, which is it's pretty low. It's very, very low. You hardly see a score this low, even for movies that people generally don't like. Um, so yeah, did not materialize. A little disappointing. I personally thought the movie was fine, nothing great, but not bad at all. But the audiences have spoken, and it's not looking like this film is gonna have legs at all. Another film that opened this weekend was Cuckoo, starring Hunter Schafer. Now, this is a movie that I'm actually really excited to see later this week. It did only get a C plus cinema score, but it is a horror movie. So for horror movies, generally, if it gets anything above a B, is considered really great, but most of them are in the C range, so that's not too surprising. It did only open with $3 million, which again, Hunter Schafer, this is her first big leading role, and I'm hoping that word of mouth is good for it, and that she's able to build off of this. This is very much early start to her career in the big screen, and so um, no one's really gonna suffer from this movie, but it is horror again. Usually a safe bet. $3 million is a little bit under what you would want a movie like this to open with, but we'll see how it does its second weekend and so on and so forth. Because horror, as we've seen with Long Legs and with other movies of that sort, it sometimes has very long legs, so you never know what's going to happen with that. In other parts of the top five, Twisters, Despicable Me 4 continue to hold steady and continue to hold on to their spots in the top five of the box office. We'll see how long it is this stands for, but they're both killing it. And I think Minions and Glen Powell are superpowering the box office. So look out for Glen Powell and the Minions 3, because if someone doesn't make that happen, you're leaving money on the table.